and I'm here with a little bit of a different. What the heck? Oh, okay. I thought I heard two dings, so I got confused. What's going on, everyone? This is ODC. It's me, and I'm here to talk about Shane McMahon returning to the WWE. I know this is something a lot different than what I normally do on my channel, but I just thought I might do this video talking about something that I don't know is pretty cool, but at the same point, a little bit I don't know overblown. I mean, I understand Shane McMahon has been gone for about I don't know anywhere from 6 to 7 years, something like that. And it's been a long time since we've had him, a part of the company. I believe it might have been more than that. Actually, it might be around almost closer to 10 years, because he's around 46 now. But as I'm being distracted by action figures, of course, I just want to talk about it. And I've had kind of some time to let it marinate, let it develop my thought process about the whole return. And I don't know, a lot of people are blowing out proportion. I feel like the general fan population that is, I'm 32. I've been watching wrestling since I was 4 years old, and my mother actually got me into watching wrestling. She used to take me to watch, Hulk Hogan. Whenever the WWF at the time would come to Buffalo, we would go to the old auditorium. We call it the Odd here in Buffalo. We'd go to the Odd and we'd watch, just the house shows. It was mostly the house shows, because back then I don't think a lot of live tapings came from Buffalo. But anyway, I digress. Talking about like I said, I feel like the majority of fans that are younger than me, they tend to make things seem a lot better than they actually are, because maybe they haven't experienced wrestling like I've experienced wrestling. And I'm only speaking for the people that are younger than me. So when they see something, and I've noticed this with a lot of other things with pop culture in general, a lot of people that are younger than me, they tend to blow things out of proportion and act a certain way, which is totally fine. I understand it's a generational thing. People act differently in each generation, whatever, or people just act differently in general. But I'm not here to get into all of that. That's a totally different debate. But what I am here to talk about is the fact that, everyone's saying on the internet, oh my God, it's the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. You know what? I don't know. It was nice to see him back. It was, it wasn't that great of a Raw. I mean, I've seen tons and dozens of people say, this is the greatest Raw I've seen in 10 years. I'm like, oh, if this is the greatest Raw you've seen in 10 years, and I feel sorry for you. Because there's been much better shows than this last one. I mean, if you were to take out the first 30 minutes of Raw, it was a mediocre show. I mean, really, it wasn't that great. There was a bunch of filler matches, and then you got a Roman Reigns match at the end, and who cares? But I mean, to see him back, it was nice. I'm going to be honest. I'm not trying to hate on everything here. I'm just trying to tell it like it is. Tell it from my point of view, how I see it. It's nice to see him back, like I said, but wasn't the greatest return of all time. It's not like Steve Austin returned. I mean, we'd all shit our pants if Steve Austin came back, but it's Shane McMahon. Who cares? I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to dumb it down. I'm not trying to rain on people's parade, so to speak. I'm just telling it from how I see it. I guess I can't fumbling with my words right now, but no, I mean, it was cool. Shane comes out, or Stephanie's about to get this award from, the Vincent J. McMahon Award of Excellence. And it said it was talking about legacy and this, that, and the other thing. And then Vince is out there in the ring and he announces the winner, and it's Stephanie. Stephanie comes out. She is, very taken back by the moment and, trying not to act heelish, but, That's just in her DNA for her character. And she goes on to thank everyone. She goes, "Oh, do you mind if I have this group of people and I wanted to thank?" And she opens up the book, and then Shane McMahon's music hits, and everyone goes nuts, and he comes out, he gets into the ring. He has a really good reaction, by the way, which is cool. But I mean, at the same token, it's Shane McMahon. I mean, he's probably going to be back, have one match at WrestleMania, and that's it. I wasn't expecting him to, have the match, which I'm going to get to in a second. But, Shane comes back in. You could tell he's very nervous. He's sweating profusely from his head. And it's probably just adrenaline, but he seemed very nervous and out, almost like a little bit rusty on the mic, which he was always usually pretty decent. All the McMahons are pretty decent on the mic. They're not that bad. Especially Vince. Vince is probably the best of the three, I would say. Not counting Linda. She's probably the worst and the most awkward. But anywho, they're all three of them are in the ring, and they're, she's like, "Shane, this is my moment." And then he's like, "You didn't earn this." And everyone's scratching their head. What the hell is going to happen next? And they're all kind of standing there, and it's kind of an awkward moment for a minute. And then Shane starts talking about how Vince, you owe me because I bailed you out years ago when you were in, and no one knows what the hell they're talking about. We have no idea. It's probably just part of the storyline. But I just thought it was very interesting that they're going this route, and the way that they set up the match is very odd. The opponent is odd. Something's got to give. I mean, obviously we'll know more going forward, but I just thought this was something interesting and different to talk about for those of my wrestling fans that are on this on this channel that are subscribed to this channel. I'm going to try and do some more wrestling stuff, some more wrestling talk in general, because I feel like I really have not given you guys enough. For those of my non-wrestling fans, I apologize, but I will be doing another video, a big unboxing coming Friday, so stay tuned for that. But back to wrestling here. Shane comes out and says, "You owe me from this, I bailed you out. Now you owe me." And Stephanie's like, "We don't owe you anything. You've been gone for 7 to 8 years. We don't owe you anything." And Shane goes, "Listen, just because I left, because I bailed this guy out, doesn't mean I lost my place in line." And Stephanie's like, "What are you talking about? Dad, this isn't true. Is this true?" And basically, Vince is like, "We'll talk about this later. I don't want to talk about this now." He's deflecting, and finally Shane goes, "Dad, is it true? Please tell us." And he's like, "Yes, it is." And then parts of it, and then Stephanie leaves the ring. Everyone's chanting "na na 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 goodbye," and then Vince and Shane are left in the ring. Blah 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 blah. The match starts. The match details start coming out. They start pouring out of Vince, and Vince, I thought, was one of the funniest parts. And everyone's kind of pooping their pants about it. Poopy. I said poop. He called the shit poop. But no, everyone starts laughing because Vince, very subtly, but very in a subtle way, goes, I'm gonna help you remember how I used to fucking beat your ass. I'm gonna give you a fucking beating," is what he says. And they had to bleep out the entire thing, but you could see his lips. And then I believe someone later on posted that that the whole unedited of what he said. So I thought that was pretty funny. But then after that, everything kind of calms down, and he goes, "Dad, I vaguely remember those beatings, and but every time I would get a beating, it made me stronger." And then after that, he goes, "You know what? What is it that you want? Do you want me to write you a check? Blah, blah, blah." That's what Vince says to Shane. Shane goes, "No, I don't want you to write me a check. I want control over Raw." And Vince says, well, if you have control over Raw, you have control over the company, because Raw is the basis of what the company is. It's how we plan everything. And he goes, that's what I want. You want to settle up with me? Then give me Raw. I want full control, because it's been a dumpster fire ever since Stephanie's had it. So after that, Vince goes full attitude era mode and goes, you know what? Fine. Or actually, I should say ruthless aggression era. And he goes, fine. You know what? Let's make a deal. You know what? I'll give you everything you want if you can win this one match. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, well, it's probably maybe it'll be a match for next week or 2 weeks from now, and then it'll set up WrestleMania. Who has control? Maybe they'll do like this superstar versus this superstar in WrestleMania for control over the WWE, and have Stephanie on one corner and Shane on the other, or do like a mixed tag team match or something like that. But that didn't happen. They just cut right straight to the chase. They were like, okay. Then it says, you will fight at WrestleMania. And then Shane's like, okay, cool. The Undertaker. And then everyone's kind of like, oh shit. And then he goes, in a Hell in the Cell match. And then everyone's like, oh shit. Which I think is pretty cool, seeing as, both wrestlers at this stage of their careers, Shane being 46 and, the Undertaker should have retired 3 years ago. At this stage of their careers, it kind of helps them in a way, because you don't have to have a real wrestling match in a Hell in a Cell match. It's kind of just like beat the ever-loving shit out of each other with weapons and throw each other through the, it's basically making the match easier for both parties is what it's doing. But I digress off that. So I have all these people saying, this is the greatest Raw ever. Oh my God, this is the best Raw I've seen in like 10 years, at least a decade. And I'm like, this is not the best Raw I've seen in 10 years. I'm sorry. Like I said, if you were to take out that first 30 minutes, that return of Shane, and we're talking about Shane McMahon here. We're not talking about Steve Austin. We're not talking about Shawn Michaels. We're not talking about anyone else that you never thought you would see ever again. CM Punk, anyone. We're not talking about a real wrestler here. We're talking about Shane fucking McMahon, okay? Calm down, guys. Easy. Put your boners away. So, with that being said, I would say it was the first 30 minutes was interesting, and then after that, it was kind of filler matches. It was Raw with the 30 minutes. It was like I said, interesting beginning. The rest kind of shit the bed. Even the beating that Triple H gave Roman Reigns at the end, that was kind of expected. It's kind of predictable what they do. A lot of what the WWE nowadays, I would say the last 6 to 7 years has been pretty predictable for what they're going to do. I'm not saying I'm a genius and I know every single thing they're going to do, but I'm saying after it happens, you go, well, that was kind of predictable. Like, I could have seen that coming. You know what I mean? I would say the one thing that they did do that did surprise me was the recent Royal Rumble. I actually did enjoy watching that, and most people were probably enjoying watching that because Roman Reigns lost, but that's a different discussion that I'd like to eventually tackle, is the whole Roman Reigns thing. Where does everyone sit with Roman Reigns? For me, I still feel like he's a developmental talent. I just don't feel like, and I'm just a guy that lives in Buffalo. So like I said, I probably think I know nothing of what I'm talking about. You're probably people out there watching this are a Roman Reigns fan, and I'm not saying I'm not. I just feel like he's a babyface right now, and I feel like the majority of male viewers that watch wrestling are the anti-babyface cheerer or fan. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to cheer against the babyface, and that all started. I remember that was happening back in 1992 with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan and Sid Vicious. Back then, it was known as Sid Justice. at the 1992 Royal Rumble when Ric Flair won the WWF title and went on to win the Royal Rumble match and the WWF title. He as soon as Hogan was eliminated, I noticed when I was watching that, well, on VHS, by the way, because I couldn't watch it live. I couldn't afford it back then when I was younger. On VHS, when Hogan was eliminated, everyone was cheering, and at the end, they had a big kind of confrontation between Sid Justice and Hulk Hogan. Everyone was cheering Sid, 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 and I feel like that moment was the first time that I had ever seen in my young adulthood, ever seen a huge crowd cheering against Hulk Hogan. And then after that, hello. Hi. And then after that, that was my wife, by the way. And then after that, it seemed like in '93, people were really rooting against. Really, hello. Really rooting against Hulk Hogan, and then it just kind of spawned after that. I feel like people really started, even with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, a really good title run that he had in '96. People at the end of November, at his title run against Sid, people started rooting for Sid. People just don't like the babyface at a certain time. Like him in the beginning of his run, and then, you know what I mean? I feel like the same thing would have happened with Daniel Bryan. People would have got sick with him. And I guess it's kind of the natural thing with the WWE. But I remember there was a time when people were really rooting for Roman Reigns and really wanted him to win, back when he was with the Shield. And then as soon as he went babyface, people started hating him. So, I mean, I don't know whether it's they have different reasons or they're just hating him just because he's the babyface of the company right now, with no Cena around. I don't know. But I mean, I feel like he still needs some work on the mic, especially. His mic skills are really just lacking. But I feel like he's a decent, a halfway decent wrestler. I'm not saying he's a fantastic. He's not Bret Hart. You know what I mean? He's not Shawn Michaels. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying he's a decent wrestler. He can he can go. He can go and he can work a match, I don't know. But I'm really surprised they didn't push Dean Ambrose. I thought he was really going to get his just due. I thought it was going to be like the surprise win for Fastlane. I also thought it was a good time for them to push him in the Royal Rumble, have him surprise everyone, win the Royal Rumble, and then you go on to have to fight your best friend at WrestleMania. I thought that would have been a better overall story instead of just doing Triple H and Roman Reigns, because everyone's just going to be rooting for Triple H at WrestleMania, because WrestleMania is dominated by mostly mid-20s to mid-30s males. But that's just my story. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like I said, I want to do some more wrestling, not only just action figure reviews, but mostly just discussion videos. And these are just discussions, you know what I mean? Don't take what I say to heart. If it upsets you, I'm sorry. But, I'm just here to have a discussion. We're all here to have fun. Let's keep it civil in the comments. I love all you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Don't forget, Friday, big unboxing. I promise. Live unboxing too. All right. See you guys.